On the haunted island of Guadalcanal, Friday crept in slowly, carrying with it a heavy tension that settled over every tree, every foxhole, and every soldier like a thick, invisible fog. The sky a pale, tired gray, as if even the heavens feared what was coming. The Marines at Henderson Field, exhausted from endless nights of interrupted sleep, cleaned their rifles with trembling hands, whispered half-finished prayers, and stared into the dense jungle that loomed before them like a living beast hiding thousands of unseen threats. Birds fell silent, the wind stopped moving, and the entire island felt trapped in a moment of breathless anticipation. Then, with the horrifying suddenness of fate snapping its fingers, a lone Japanese mortar whistled through the air and detonated violently near the edge of the airstrip, sending dirt and shrapnel flying and instantly unleashing a storm of chaos that swallowed the entire morning. Within seconds, machine guns roared to life, firing streaks of red-hot tracers into the thick white fog. Artillery shells slammed into the earth with bone-shaking force, and American wildcats dove from the clouds with engines screaming like angry steel beasts, dropping fire and fury onto enemy positions. The jungle erupted with the sound of Japanese soldiers charging through the brush, their boots pounding the earth, blades glinting, voices rising in fierce cries that cut through smoke and ash. Flames raced up palm trees, blackening their trunks. Thick smoke choked the air, mixing with dust and the metallic bite of gunpowder. The ground trembled under explosions as if the island itself were cracking apart beneath the weight of war. Marines fought from shaking foxholes, shouting over the constant thunder of battle, faces streaked with sweat, mud, and fear, hands blistering on overheated rifle barrels as they braced themselves for wave after wave of Japanese assaults. Some firing rifles with ruthless precision, some hurling grenades that exploded in showers of dirt and fire, some charging straight through burning undergrowth with bayonets raised, desperate to break the American line once and for all. Visibility dropped to almost nothing as smoke thickened, forcing many into brutal close-quarters combat where rifles became clubs and bayonets clashed in deadly, breathless struggle. Men fought in mud slick with sweat and blood, the screams of the wounded mixing with the roar of aircraft overhead and the relentless impact of shells that shook the world like thunder made of iron. Hours stretched endlessly as the sun climbed, each minute feeling like a year, the heat suffocating, the air vibrating with gunfire. Some Marines were pushed back only to charge forward again. Some held their ground by sheer will. Some lay wounded but refused to leave their positions, firing until their hands could no longer grip their weapons. Trees burned to charred skeletons, trenches filled with smoke, and still the Japanese came, relentless and fearless, determined to retake the island at any price. Yet through all the chaos, exhaustion, injuries, and terror, the Marines held on. Not for glory, not for medals, but for each other, for the hope that if they endured just a little longer, relief might come with nightfall. And when the sun finally dropped behind the horizon, the battlefield fell into a battered, eerie silence. Fires crackled where trees once stood tall. Smoke drifted like ghosts above torn earth, and the air hung heavy with the cost of survival. But through the ruin and destruction, one unbreakable truth remained. Henderson Field still belonged to the Marines. Japan's fiercest, most desperate assault had shattered against their line, and this single Friday, born in tension, drowned in fire, and ending in exhausted victory, became the quiet turning point of World War II. The day the tide shifted not with fanfare, but with the unyielding courage of those who refused to let the island fall.